So tonight we're going to start things off with not the series we expected, but with Hangang Club versus MD, or MD Esports Club. Now, Hangang Clan, rather, is a team that we've been seeing a little bit more. To remind you guys of their route through this tournament, they beat Akfun, who is actually a team in the lower part of the LSPL, and MD actually beat a team named Ling, who are also in the LSPL, and I believe Ling are actually rank 11, and Akfun are rank 13. So two of the lower ranked teams eliminated by MD and Hangang Clan, two of the specially invited teams from the TGA tournament. So really exciting to see some teams that aren't in LPL or LSPL overtake some of the lower teams in LSPL and make it here. And just finishing up with picks and bans. Sorry for a little bit of a delayed start, just figuring out the scheduling and everything. But thank you for tuning in tonight. My name is Rapid. I'm here with Nero, and we're going to bring you guys the at least the first best of three. Still waiting on confirmation on whether or not there will be another best of three after this.
Yeah, so as Rapid said, we were supposed to cast EDG versus King at the very beginning, but we are going straight into MD versus Hangang Club. So we don't really know if the second best of three is gonna happen at all, but as we said, we are going into this one, MD versus Hangang Club. It is going to be interesting, since both Hangang Club and MD aren't in the LSPL, so they were supposed to be the weaker teams, but they actually managed to knock out the LSPL teams themselves. So they might put up a good performance right here, and we are waiting to get into the first game of today.
That's right. First game, like we said, will be MD. And to be honest, there's only a certain amount of information we have on these guys. MD actually don't have any stats anywhere that I could possibly find. So if anybody has info on MD, then please let us know. They are a somewhat random team coming in here, and they will be playing off against Hangang Clan. Now, Hangang Clan actually have a very storied history. They are a TGA team. That's what I mentioned. That's how they got into this tournament at all. They even date back all the way to back when ESL was doing Go for LOL Pro Asia seasons, and I actually got a chance to cast them versus, or I would have gotten a chance to cast them versus Team Phoenix, except that they forfeited, I believe, so that was somewhat unfortunate. But this is the team that has cultured some of the best carries in China. Kid, and who is now on Invictus Gaming, and San, who's on OMG, both came from Hangang Clan, or at least at one point many years ago. So, a team that has a lot of potential, but we'll see if they can take on the somewhat unknown Team MD.
And the most interesting thing is that San was the support of Kid. They both played in the bottom lane, and now San switched over to AD carry, and
turns out he's pretty good at
AD
carry too. Yeah, it's like the student has become the master a little bit there. So, Hangang Clan is kind of like the Copenhagen Wolves of China, in that they're always a team that has a very strong eye for AD carries. When they pick new ones, turns out that they tend to be pretty good. So excited to see maybe the potential coming out of their current lineup, which is still maybe I think we have a couple of players that we're a little bit unsure of as far as locked in rosters for tonight. But either way, MD versus Hangang will be your first game. Of course, we do have to wait to get through, I believe, the 3-minute spectator delay before we hop into tonight's games. But that's why we're taking a little bit of a break before we hop into the game.
虽然说是有龙女，但说实话，龙女配发条的话，个人因为龙女扑过去的一个速度其实是比较的慢的，比较容易被比较容易被就是说是就是说这个康姆给打断的。它并不像就是说是刚你说的这个皇子或者说是这一个狮子，他们这个就是成功率是更加的可靠。
So like Nero mentioned a little bit earlier, this is our first best of three. It was supposed to be the second one, but like you said, the second best of three, which I can only presume is going to be the second best of three, is actually the is actually EDG versus King, and that is going to be an incredible game. King is one of the best teams in LSPL, and one that we should expect to see coming up next season, even trying to contend for LPL. So we're going to get out onto the Rift for our first best of 3. This is best of 3. It's not the LPL style best of 2. It is a best of 3, so we get at least 2 games, maybe even a third. It's Team MD, or MD Esports Club versus Hangong Club. So really excited to go over the rosters. A little bit unsure about MD. First of all, it's Brand Zero and possibly new jungler. Unsure about that, like I said. And then Angel Beats in the mid lane, Punishment and Rolly, or Really. They're in the bottom lane. Of course, they're going
Rely.
up. Yeah, or just Rely. I guess they could go with that. I really want to make it something else. Get it? Really want to make it something else. But they're going up against Z, Crow, CK, BM1, and WY. And of course, there's a little bit more info on Hanggang Clan, like I said, just because they have had a little bit more exposure out there on the Rift.
Yeah, so for example, WY is just a short for Wu Yao, which is the real name of the support.
And his AD carry is Bume, which doesn't stand for anything. It's just his name. CK jungler here is Crow, which may be different than their previous jungler Yan Z. And of course, top lane is just Z, which is probably just his first initial. It usually goes by the ID Soda Green, I believe. Once again, we don't have updated rosters for these teams, so could be bringing in something a little bit new.
Yeah, and there we go. Actually, from the picks and bans, we are getting into the game with an Orianna and a Tristana. So I think that we have lately been seeing a lot. For example, yesterday when LGD were playing these two champions.
Late invade here is gonna pay off. Smite is late, and it is gonna be a red buff for Jarvan. Now Punishment is not gonna be able to get out of this one. He's gonna go down, and Hanggang Club's just gonna clean this one up. Well, at least they get the kill. All right, not quite the biggest cleanup I expected, but a death for Corki. So Punishment getting punished early on.
Okay, so an early advantage is definitely gonna give them a lot. And that was a good one. And Hanggang Club, they are the, as you said, better known ones coming into this game, and they already show that they are actually a little bit better ones. We'll get to see.
It was a little bit of a miss smite though, so Crow may have had some issues there. He smote early, and then Jarvan was able to grab the red buff back in his favor and actually grab his 2-buff start, which is a start that Crow will be very far behind on, so a little bit of an advantage here. Now Jarvan done with his jungle already, setting up for a gank in the top lane. We'll have to play that very carefully, or might even just know that Evelyn's far enough behind that he can actually go steal her red. So really great realization. Jarvan able to really punish Crow for missing that early smite.
Yeah, still the gold lead is on the side of Hanggang Clan, and well, the early advantage in the bottom lane is definitely gonna hurt MD by a little bit. It is a Tristana that got a first blood that will get a CS advantage, and then later will be a big monster.
As far as the lanes are working out, seeing the Shyvana top is not necessarily a champion you'd expect, but it is something that has led to a lot of success in LPL. Going's most recent highlight reel plays 2v1ing and getting a double kill and surviving top lane. Still making Shyvana look good. We'll see if Z can live up to the hype. Playing a champion. It used to be like flavor of the month top lane, but now you don't really see all that often. Now double Flay actually back from Relly. He will keep the Flays coming. Oh, Death Sentence lands onto WY and right on cue. Here's MD. WY is not going to get out of this one alive. And he will finally get taken down, given the kill over to Punishment. So now 1-1 after a rough early start.
Oh yeah, so actually talking about the flavor of the month, usually it was Shyvana versus Renekton in the top lane, and then in the bottom lane Twitch and Vayne. That was for like the whole split long in the previous splits of LPL and all the other games in China pretty much.
可能也是因为前期他去想反对方的 buff 没有抢到，导致了自己的等级略微低一点，现在是3级，比皇子还要低一些。他现在单 buff 在身上，就是拼了命的去刷野。再看中路，露露这边呢，它是 Q 的减速衰减效果不再随着法强而变化了。再者它 W 的
Yeah, and we'll get to see definitely Braum and Tristana is kind of an interesting lane in the bottom lane. It is gonna be really strong, but where is the engage for Orianna? It's just this Shyvana. We usually see a Lee Sin or something like that alongside the Orianna to get the ball there. Evelyn and Shyvana, it's still quite okay, but it could have been a little bit better. And Crow, well, he got a tiny advantage in the early game, but as you said, he missed the smite early and he needs to stabilize by a little bit better.
上路这边基本上是属于这种最无聊的，谁都砍不死谁。
就是你打我一下，我打你一下，你补一个刀，我补一个刀。
然后两边上路单纯对刷，再加上打野都不去，所以上路这边的话是最安全以及最无聊的。
对，就最考验个人的一种实力了。因为双方都带的是传送嘛，所以打野就算来抓的话是不容易抓死的。所以他们也是不怎么会把重心放在上路。
Alright, so actually the CS difference is quite close for the bottom lane, but in the mid and top, MD is coming out on top, and Gragas is gonna be a big threat later on. However, Shyvana should really be okay in the laning phase. She shouldn't really die there. But we have already seen a lot of Gragas's failing actually yesterday.
Well,
that'd be interesting to see.
感觉没有什么太多的对拼对号。小鱼，你感觉就说前期的话，飞机对上小炮这样一个 HGC 的对决的话，哪边说可能技能占优势一些呢？
说实话的话，一般情况都是飞机这边会比较的占优势，因为飞机这个英雄的话，本身就是技能是，你可以把它理解为前期的时候把它理解为一个就是说是。法师型 ADC，它比就是一般的这种 ADC 啊更偏向于这种法术有比较多的一个法术的伤害。
Yeah, but level 6 is already coming for Orianna, for Shyvana, for everyone pretty much, and the dragon should be a focus pretty soon. But yeah, the early kills right there in the match, that's not a thing that you usually see, so the game might actually be a little bit quiet and slow for quite a while, after the first blood especially, to Hang-On Clan. But Jarvan, he just ganked this bottom lane once. He needs to move around the map a little bit more. He's a Jarvan. He has to be a mobile champion.
2次游走之后，导致现在刷野的等级是低于寡妇，寡妇6级，看能不能绕后。
这边的话确实不能给上的一个虚弱，灯笼这边的话是没有给的特别好。看这边的话，点能不能把布隆给烫死，一丝血没死。
没错，但是这样的一个位置。
这个大招，但是自己非常的危险。
龙女为什么是直接大招过来的？
他应该是看到了，就是说是
想要打断九董的传送吗？
九董在那边传送的时候，然后直接就是一个传送吧，应该就一个大招打断，想要。
Yeah, the teleport got used and there's no dragon attempt, so Hang-On Clan may actually be looking for this one, but yeah. As you said, it was quite a close one. However, WY, he's a little bit far behind in the levels too.
还好不亏了，是赚到了。
我小炮这边的话，2个人头都是小炮拿的，小炮也是比较开心。
现在时间也是到了9分多钟的时候。
Once again.
双路的 AP 都
Yep, the TPs. Well, actually, there was a kill for Brand Zero, but not much else. And actually, talking about the mid laners, as you said, we are waiting for a dragon to happen for actually them to do something. And CK, I think that he's gonna have a bigger impact on this one. However, this Wild Growth can also save someone on the side of AMD. So All that we have left is just to wait for a big team fight to happen. And actually, just look at BM1. He's just getting kills, more and more of them. 2-0 right now on this Tristana. It should be getting dangerous for MD soon enough.
来上路真的是有点浪费自己的时间，双方都没有点燃的情况下，除非是对面的血线真的被压得非常低，你进行一个 gank。如果是满血的情况，没什么太大的作为。现在布隆刚刚5级，但是锤石已经是有大招的情况下了。如果在塔外不小心被勾到的话，基本又是必死的一个情况。
确实。哎，这个非常的 nice。
对，但是露露有大招啊，感觉不敢越塔，而且皇子在后面这样的一个反蹲，也是非常的 nice， 就这个意识很好。对面如果要越塔强杀的话，反而可以反杀。
Yeah, and actually both ultimates used up right here in the middle lane and not in the team fight. That is a thing that we don't usually see anymore since there are no assassins in the middle lane, so they don't go for the 1v1. So, yeah, actually aggressiveness comes out.
Okay, so still looking to fix a couple of minor issues just to make sure everything's ready to go. Should have fixed my audio issues and then the audio issues from the stream. Turn that down just a little bit, make sure that that is where it's supposed to go. And so now, as long as we can hear Nero, we should be ready.
Okay, so
all right, so we can hear you, we can hear me. The stream volume's low and good, so crisis averted. We're back and ready to go. So Crow is sitting down here. He's I think he thinks he's a lot more sneaky than he actually is, and I don't think Punishment and Relly are really going to be that surprised when you know, the aggressive nature of BM1 and WY pushing up on this reveals the jungler being there.
Alright, so 2-2, it's still quite a close
Okay, so
game.
WY wants to start the fight, but he's gonna have to get out of there in a hurry, gets taken down, and now it's actually Crow who might not have enough backup just to get in there. He's gonna get Valkyrie'd after. The push into the wall with the ultimate is not enough for PM1. Tries to save his jungler, but a devastating 2-0, and that was primarily a 2-on-3 that Punishment just dominated, and now it's going to be actually MD, who we're actually a little bit behind in the bottom lane, coming up early with the Dragon Command. Shockwave lands. MD are in a lot of trouble. Dragon almost killing off Relly there at the end, and Jarvan very low as well. Glitter Lance will land on a CK. No kill potential. No, the flash underneath. There is kill potential, and it's the Ignite. Taking down one more. He misses the Glitter Lance. Command Protect. Keep CK alive.
Oh, and once again, a big close fight, and finally they managed to put BM a little bit behind in the bottom lane, but yeah, this was so close on the Dragon. Both Jarvan and Thresh got so low. I was in an incredible luck that they stayed alive, and yeah, 42 in favor of MD right here.
Well, but something to keep in mind is that Evelyn, Hang-On Club, they did come back and take the dragon afterwards. So even though it was a lucky escape for pretty much everyone on MD, they were able to pick up and almost kill mid, but of course almost doesn't give you any gold. So they lose the dragon, they don't get a kill mid, and then Hang-On Club just come back and take the dragon for themselves, draw the gold count right back to even. And that's going to set them actually at a pretty decent spot now, coming into what is, I guess, traditionally considered the mid-game. Oh, now ult from behind the turret. Explosive Cask actually knocks Z back towards his turret. And now Brand Zero is going to need to find a new brand for himself. The damage ticking down over the wall. He flashes, body slams, but it's not enough to escape the power burn from that Spirit of the Elder Lizard. So nice job by Crow, just barely having enough damage to pick up the kill.
Yeah, it's one very unfortunate fight for Brand Zero right there.
MD's coming in, he's gonna get one auto attack, misses the Glitter Lance actually, so Z could micro back towards his turret. The last auto attack's cancelled, and MD will realize there's a warden there. Crow coming in from behind. MD needs to get out of here. Crow does not want to reveal himself. He knows he's in the bush. He's going to speed himself up there, and there's an immediate ultimate. Angel Beats. Not watching the shop. Staying alive.
So That's an incredibly close game right here. And wow. Everything is just happening all around. It's like the classic LPL game that we have been seeing a half a year ago. Actually, LPL has started developing a lot in terms of a gameplay, of strategy and stuff like that. But here is what China looked like half a year ago. Non-stop fighting and every single team being even and being able to take a game from one another.
And honestly, this game is actually going really back and forth. We've seen kills come early on, first blood very early in the jungle for Hanggang Club. But then they brought it back in the bottom lane, lost it in the bottom lane, and then had that big dragon fight, which was actually very even. No kills picked up for MD, but they didn't give up any kills either, even though it was so close. A death sentence threaded through the minions on a BM1 who's going to be able to jump his way out of there. The lantern should be good to click on and draw punishment closer, but he is actually 1v2. He gets his Valkyrie canceled by the knockup from the Glacial Fissure. A double flay backwards should keep MD at a good spot in the bottom lane, but man, punishment just got outplayed there. He tried to Valkyrie, got knocked up instead.
Yeah, and well, that's a nice play by WY. You usually expect someone to knock you out from a Valkyrie with a Thresh or a Leona, something like that, but not a Braum with an ultimate.
Alright, still having a few minor volume issues, so pardon us while we go ahead and check this out in 1 second, trying to make sure everything is audible and yet at the same time able to be heard, which is almost like the same thing, but should be good to go. Alright, so before we get a little bit ahead of ourselves, we talked about how the game was very even, but it's also a big different story across the map. We had Brand Zero teleport back down to the bottom, or teleport down to the bottom lane, get a kill, and he's also about 30 CS ahead, which is really, you can see that ahead in the item count. Probably will be building the glass cannon Gragas, unless he wants to build, you know, some extra armor or something crazy like that, which is not necessarily super effective because there is so much magic damage coming out of Hanggang Club. So might just be going for the blow up build, which does work very well against carries like Tristana, who will heal it back up and stay very, very safe unless you can, you know, really chunk them out of the fight early on. So aggressive builds in the top lane as they, well, actually it's a defensive transition for Z. Kind of surprising to see that so early before she completes her Blade of the Ruined King. But is having a lot of problems up there. Now, speaking of problems, MD are giving a big problem over to Hanggang Club, trying to siege out their bottom turret. They've got it down below half. Will they continue the push, or are they just really sieging to stall for Dragon?
Yeah, the Dragon is exactly, that's what I was about to say. It is going to spawn in about a couple of minutes, but MD do want to get a revenge right there. They do want to get it finally.
But Command Shockwave used in the mid lane, and Glitter lands to counter it out. Angel Beats so much stronger than he appears. He was down a needlessly large rod there, and he still just blew Orianna up. That is a big sacrifice, a big misplay too in the 1v1 to lose it that hard. MD really putting that, I guess both mid laners used Ignite, but now it's going to be actually Jarvan jumping in on to Crow, tries to take him down there, but he's just a little bit too tanky. Now Z gets knocked back into the turret, takes one turret shot, but can he get away from Brand Zero in time? The barrel slows there. Brand Zero is going to have a body slam up. He gets it. Couple more auto attacks and the barrel to come out. It's all it's going to take. Z trying to make his way away, can't get out in time. Brand Zero taking him down. Now Angel Beats about to get the worst side of Crow, but Crow used his speed up instead of removing the slow to get in there. So he did take a little bit of extra damage. Angel Beats just all over this game, even though he's only 1-0.
Yeah, and actually talking about this Gragas in the top lane, having this Rod of Ages already is not as glass cannon as humanly possible. So he already has a little bit of something and gets some kills and gets some map pressure. That is really good for MD. Yeah, this Tristana actually was doing really well at the very beginning of the game, but now punishment, he comes back with strength 2-2-2 and 50 CS advantage, almost, actually 40 at the moment.
Exactly, and so he's going to hit a huge power spike. The Trinity Force on top of those Sork shoes mean that when he goes into a fight, he is going to blow people up. It's really impressive to see that so early. I mean, it's 20 minutes into the game, so it's not necessarily ahead of schedule, but it's ahead of his opposing AD carry, who still has yet to pick up that Infinity Edge power spike. And that's the big risk to going Infinity Edge, because there's a big point in the game. Your mid game is just not that strong. So Dragon number 1 went to Crow. Hanggang Club took that one away off of pushing MD off of it. But now MD come back with a vengeance, very strong, and will take the second dragon off the map. So good job for Hanggang Club the first time around, but you can see just once again back and forth, keeping that theme to this game. MD coming back and now with a kill advantage too. 2,000 gold in the lead.
Yeah, so MD coming out on top right here, and the Hanggang Club, we hyped them up a little bit too much in the early game. And now MD will be coming back quite well into this one, especially with this Gragas and Corki. These are going to be a very strong champions, and having the wild growth from Angel Beats is going to help them a lot. So they have the explosive casks and wild growth combo. That is going to be a good thing, and Punishment is going to stay safe, especially with the Thresh Lantern and Lulu on his side.
So at least for now, the dragon's off the field, which means either we slip back into passive farm mode, or the team just try to like really make a big impression on the map. Maybe gank behind a turret, maybe crush one side lane, or look to at least secure an advantage for them coming into the next objective. So you can see after having a rough early game, Z has finally gotten himself tanky enough to at least be able to wave clear, but Brand Zero is still just mauling this guy up in the top lane, so still surviving by himself, but not doing very well at all. Explosive cask, miss you a little bit there, so no gank potential as Jarvan comes in to help out.
Yeah, and we do have a little bit of a CS advantage in the middle lane, so this Orianna is gonna hurt a bit, but still going up against this Gragas that already got a little bit fed. And then Corki, who's so slippery with his Valkyrie and the Dark Passage. It's gonna be a tough time for CK.
Alright, now Hanggang Club have a couple of things going for them right now. They do have a big power spike on their AD carry. You have Infinity Edge and Zeal coming its way. And a 2-0 Tristana is nothing to shake a stick at, but at this point, Corki is just ridiculous. He came out with a huge CS advantage, still has kills and assists, and especially since he's so close to that last Whisper, the double penetration itemization is just, I mean, there's nothing that can stand up against him. He's going to be dealing a ton of magic damage, physical damage, and true damage, thanks to his passive.
And that's a thing to be afraid of, but still no big fights happening as of yet. And even though Punishment is already in the middle lane, still not much to happen right here. They will just bring the turret down, and I don't think that Hanggang will want to contest for that.
Already very early Lich Bane completed for Brand Zero's Gragas. I know a lot of top laners really don't like that itemization, but we'll see if Z can make it work against Jarvan. But now actually turning it back around, so much AoE coming in, and look at MD, they're just getting destroyed. BM1 gets the kill onto Gragas, but actually gets shoved a little bit against the wall, so no additional kills, but with Relly dying, Jarvan dying, it's Hanggang with a free trip towards Baron, and those Gragas will be in the area to try to maybe stop them just a little bit. It is going to be a very dangerous attempt here. Angel Beats here with a lot of damage. WY might die, and now MD are going to lose at least their top laner. No, Brand Zero gets out alive. Exhaust forced out onto Angel Beats. It is successfully taken by Hanggang Club, but yeah, there's no way that Angel Beats wants to fight BM1 right now. Corki, though, still continuing, and Angel Beats doesn't see BM1 in the bush. Punishment still pushing down the bottom lane. Can he get this base turret? He's trying to get the Trinity Force procs, but he just doesn't have the health.
Yeah, that was a big miracle that Brad actually stayed alive through this. But that's a nice bit of gold for Hanggang, killing this Baron. And right now, they have to be a little bit afraid of Punishment, but it still is quite okay. They had to come back into this game quite quickly because they needed this Tristana to once again get strong enough and quickly enough. So they are on a good way doing that. And actually, as I thought that MD will have a big edge in the team fights, they lose 2 in a row.
Exactly, and you know, Hanggang are hitting this really weird power spike too. That fight that they won top lane wasn't because anybody on their team was really strong. They just stacked their AoE team comp just up impeccably. They landed a like 3 or 4 man Agony's Embrace. Then you also had Shockwave. You had Shyvana in there with the burnout damage, and BM1 just firing off shots from the back line. So really, really big team fight for them. Rather than saying, hey, our champions are strong, we're going to win. They're like, hey, we're going to play this team fight better than you. And that's what's going to give us the victory.
Yeah, and MD are still ahead in gold though, so they might be looking for the dragon that is spawning in just a couple of seconds. And then another fight may actually happen, because Hangong will not want to give away another piece of advantage to MD. And Tristana already has the static shift and an infinity edge, so yep, BM1 is actually one dangerous Tristana at the moment.
But actually, the CS level's a little bit low for everybody on MD. You'll notice they had like a 50 or 60 CS advantage down in the bottom lane. Now it's only about 35. And keep in mind, nobody on par with CK's farm. He's not going the Spectral Wraith Orianna, but he still has 270 CS at 25 minutes, which is just a little bit ahead of schedule.
Alright, so 26th minute and the dragon is there, but actually Hangong have a little bit of something different in their minds. They want to bring some turrets down, and yeah, 3-2 in favor of MD. If they bring one down, they are gonna equalize the score, and then they might be looking for something else, and that's a smart play. However, well, I don't think that they will be able to bring any turrets down, because the defense from MD is a little bit too strong. There's the glitter lance for the wave clear, there are the barrel rolls and explosive casks.
Oh, no. A nice trip inside the pit and then right back out again. Jarvan wanted the smite steal. It was actually Braum, WY, that picked up the dragon kill, so nice supporting there. He's even supporting the jungler, helping him get those big objectives. No smite steal for Jarvan, so he was able to take Reli's lantern right back out of the pit, so no harm, no foul, but some really interesting sort of banjo mechanics, or rubber band mechanics, that's what I was looking for, coming out between Thresh and Jarvan.
Yep, that was quite okay, but still he didn't get the steal, and actually Brian was the one to take the dragon, which doesn't really happen too often, the support being able to land the last hit. And both of the junglers missing their smites.
Now, Angel Beats is probably the biggest member of his team. Even though he's not on that Corki level, Corki actually didn't decide to go for the Last Whisper. He just picked up a BF sword. He's like, I don't really need to penetrate too many defensive stats, so he's just going for more damage. And I don't think I necessarily agree with that, because there is a... there's a Glacial Shroud on WY, and there's the makings of a Randuin's Omen coming out from Z, so there is armor out there to penetrate. Last Whisper would not be the worst idea. But he already has the penetration for a lot of his spells, like, you know, the Missile Barrage, so Punishment's still going to be in a very, very strong spot. But both mid laners actually in just about the same place as Hangong Club look to take down their third tier bottom lane turret. Jarvan getting into position, but he might have overextended. Needs to be careful. This bottom turret's still under siege.
Yeah, that was a good job by Punishment, actually, being able to bring down 2 of these turrets already, and now setting themselves up for a siege right down to the third one. If they get the... I'm talking about MD. If they get this third turret in the bottom lane and then get the inhibitor, they will have an easy time at the next Barons, actually. So they have to come up with some counter push after Hangong is done with what they are doing right now.
Alright, now, the big thing to notice, at least right now, is that the power is starting to maybe shift back towards MD. This game actually really back and forth, really even across the board. Now, Baron is still a big deal. You know, it's already been taken once, but it's about to respawn in just over a minute, and you can already see MD on full ward clear duty, clearing out the entire top half of the map, with the exception of one ward for Hangong Club. They could really use some extra coverage up there, but they're really not prioritizing it.
And actually talking about the ward coverage, there is quite a bit of them right there, but none of the side of Hangong Club. Not in their jungle. There are some deep wards from MD in their own jungle, so they are trying to stay defensive, especially after the early invade from Crow at the first level. But actually, nothing like that happened anymore later in the game.
两边都还是要尽量的再找一下机会。其实这种时候的话，就看谁是先失误。
在打团啊，或者是刷单的时候，都是看对方的小失误，如果能被你抓到的话，那这波团就很容易打。谁都不敢先开这条龙。
Alright, we might be having some minor sound issues once again, but I hope the Rapid will be back in just a second.
It is.
And
so, apparently,
alright.
I'm trying to keep the volume levels for everything about even, and sometimes it does not hit the right one. So, we're still working on things. But speaking of working on things, Hang On Club are actually working on clearing out the Baron ward coverage. But they still really don't have any of their own, so leave much to be desired.
Yeah, so apparently in the bottom lane we do have a big CS advantage in favor of Punishment. So even though BM actually started to come back, he got 2 assists and his team got a Baron. Once again, it is Punishment coming out on top quite massively.
Still Z, you can see he really can't deal with Brand Zero down there. That's pretty spectacular when you think about how Shyvana is picked primarily to deal with like big tanks that can't out-trade. But the Lich Bane, a really big power spike, not something I expected. Now Crow's gonna come around the wrong side, gets bounced up and gets completely destroys Angel Beats. The crits coming in from BM1, just ridiculous. And now it's actually MD on the back foot. They're forced to come in now behind. Teleports coming in and they're way out of position. MD are forced to recall back into their own base, and now only Kragus left to stop the onslaught. Hang On Club they're just gonna take down the Nexus, or at least the inhibitor, which is like a mini Nexus, which is what I was going for there. So Hang On Club, a big push up mid. MD managed to save their turret, but still an incredible positional advantage. Hang On Club pushing it all the way in.
Yeah, and actually, the Demacia Cup games seem to be going a lot quicker than the LPL games, because I thought that it's 20th minute, and then I look at the death timers. Wow, 50 seconds on Angel Beats. That's a lot of time. So Hang On Club did have a lot of time to work with, but still not really managing to do too much, and they are not even taking down an inhibitor, as you said.
MD will get the dragon off that, so I mean, it's kind of the best of all worlds. They get to defend their base, get the dragon, and nobody died, so it's about the best you can ask for if you're MD. Hang On really backed off of that. They're just like, hey, we need to get out of here. And the reason for that was they wanted to go back, buy, and have this big item power spike setting up for the upcoming Baron, which you can only expect to come after this next big team fight, which should happen as soon as Jarvan gets an engage. So the way this is supposed to work out is Jarvan's going to jump in, and then everybody's going to like spread out to avoid the Orianna shockwave. And while they're all locked up by Jarvan, you just pour things like barrels, like rockets, like glitter lances, just shove them all inside the Cataclysm. But I have a pretty good feeling that Hang On Club have a few like ball delivery systems and counters to that of their own.
Yeah, exactly. And CK, now that we have already seen how much damage this Shockwave can deal, well, he is quite strong, and Angel Beats got erased from the map right there in the middle lane. So MD might be in a lot of danger if they go for this Baron, because actually when they are locked up in the Baron pit, this is gonna be a nice opportunity for an extremely good shockwave right there for CK.
I feel like the team that starts Baron has a really strong disadvantage because you're either going to group up for the Orianna Shockwave, or if Hangang Club are the one that started, they're just going to really set up for Jarvan to get a massive Cataclysm off. Now, MD are so grouped up. It's Relly that gets knocked up, but Crow's going to be the one to start the fight. Already a kill is BM1 just blowing Relly apart. Now, still, do they re-engage here? Z is actually pretty darn low on this one, and no further initiation options. A nice pick off. BM1 getting the kill, but will Hangang Club be able to capitalize off of it?
Yeah, they weren't in the previous time they got a kill, and now this is well, not a very important target. It was the mid laner back then. Now it's just a support, but yeah. You should be going for a Baron instead of the turrets.
This is not good for Hangang Club. Even though it's a 4v5, look at WY. He's actually starting to block everybody out. Tristana's the one that gets the Baron. So good job there by BM1. Jumps over the wall to kill off Jarvan. And now Hangang Club might be able to find the ace here. Of course, they won't be able to kill everybody because they're respawning and coming back from base. But they do kill off everyone in the Dragon Pit with a notable exception of Angel Beats, who just doesn't seem to die. Impressive impressive Baron control there, and maybe not the nicest of smites, but BM1's there to pick up the slack and get the Baron for Hangang Club.
Yeah, so again, the failed smites. Actually, on the Dragon, where both of the junglers threw out the smites and it didn't work out, so WY got the kill. This time around, WY was tanking up the whole lineup of MD, so he couldn't get the last hit, but still quite okay for Hangang Club. They did get this Baron, they did get a little bit of kills, and now they're looking for the base, and, well, not much to defend it. Of course, there's Angel Beats with the glitter lens, but there's no barrel roll from Gragas, so a lot of wave clear is gone.
Now keep in mind, I'm not sure exactly which patch this is played on. If it's the most recent one, then Gragas has reduced wave clear because his barrels only deal a 70% of damage to minions. But I'm thinking this is still the same patch as LPL is on, so 4.12. Still waiting on confirmation for that, so we'll get that to you guys in a second. But regardless of that, still a very even game despite the way these Barons have been going. Especially since I actually expected the Corki to have a bigger presence in this game based off of his early success, whereas Tristana has been the one who's really starting to ramp up. You can already see with those big 3 items completed, starting to be a really scary late game menace.
Yeah, exactly. After BM hit this Infinity Edge and Static Shift, he already started hurting a lot. And even though Punishment was so far ahead, he still wasn't doing so much. Tristana is just being the best AD carry at the moment.
Now keep in mind, the 2 teams that you're seeing play here tonight actually defeated 2 of the lower tier LSPL teams to make it to this point in the bracket, and so they're facing off against each other as relatively unproven teams. They both played in TGA, I believe it is. That's the Tencent Games Arena. It's like a 3rd tournament below the LSPL, but they actually beat LSPL teams, so nice little bit of an upset there, and that's actually something we've seen a lot here in the Demacia Cup. LSPL teams even going on to beat LPL teams. LGD got taken out earlier on this week, so still something to keep an eye on. But another thing to watch out for is you can't just sort of lose sight and watch only for this tournament, because you have to keep an eye on who these guys are playing next. And actually the winners of this game go on to play the winners of King versus EDG, our next series, and that is going to be a monstrous series. King, probably one of, if not the best team in LSPL, and EDG, a monster of LPL as well. So excited to see how this is going to work out. Tristana just using that long range to force down that top tier turret, and at long last, Z is actually finally able to out-trade Brand Zero.
Yeah, and actually talking about MD, they managed to knock out World Elite Academy in another tournament. So yeah, they have some good achievements under their belt, but they are not top tier teams. So that is actually a weird thing right there. And EDG against King is definitely going to be an interesting series, especially that EDG is not in their top form right now, so King will have even better chances.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the top teams in LPL starting to have some issues, and this is the LSPL team's time to shine. And what better tournament to watch them do it in here than the Demacia Cup? I really love this format, and there's actually a few other Chinese tournaments out there that have been going on. NEST and nice command shockwave lands on the MD. One last auto attack would have killed him off there, but with Jarvan jumping in a little bit ahead of schedule, gets a nice dunk, but he's all by himself. Goes down immediately. There is a kill in the back line as Punishment was able to find at least one onto Crow, but look at BM1 just jumping everywhere. 1 kill, 2 kills, and it's all going down for MD. They're going to need a doctor after this one, so we'll see if they can do it. Death sentence onto BM1. Probably not a champion that really wants to pull him towards. And after that ace, it's just going to be the game. Game number 1. Score going over to Hangang Club. And they are I guess you'd say the better team. Both are still relatively unknown, but exciting to see a very back and forth game. Both teams very evenly matched. Hangang Club will come out the winners. So best of 3 series. That's only game number 1. So stick around. We'll have game number 2 coming your way in hopefully not very long. But in the meantime, enjoy the music, and we will be back in just a minute.
但说实话，也可以看出来，他们其实一直都是打的，就是说是一点比较少，很少激进。刚刚就是一次激进的时候就导致了，就是说是就亏大了。
真的就是说，可能前期我们的优势拉不大，但是我只要一波打赢了，
保证就是自己这边起码有打团的资本。好的，那么这边的话，我们也是
稍微休息片刻，
对，我们也待会儿回来。